from the National Reentry Resource Center. We're going to get started with our orientation and grant management webinar for the fiscal year 2014 Second Chance at Grantees. Here at the National Reentry Resource Center, I'm the Deputy Program Director for the Center, and I focus on policies and issues affecting Second Chance at Grantees and other reentry practitioners and providers. Today's webinar is for grant management requirements for grantees that have received an award from the Bureau of Justice Assistance. If you encounter technical or audio problems during the webinar, please contact WebEx Technical Support at 1-866-229-3239. During this webinar, you'll be able to submit a question at any point. To submit a question, just please type your question into the Q&A panel at the bottom right-hand portion of your screen. We will keep a running list of the content-related questions that we receive and then ask the panelists to respond at the last segment of the webinar. We will do our best to get through as many questions as possible. If you have questions, though, that are directed to your state policy advisor at BJA, you should email your state policy advisor directly with any programmatic questions regarding grants management. They will not be taking questions during this webinar. Also, please note that this webinar is being recorded and will be available on the National Reentry Resource Center website by the end of this week. We will be emailing the link to all those who have registered, and we'll be sending you also the PDF of the PowerPoint. Today's webinar features speakers from two different agencies. The most important being Bureau of Justice Assistance, U.S. Department of Justice. We will have representatives from two offices of BJA. The first I'd like to talk to you a little bit more about is the BJA Policy Office, which acts as the national leader for crime justice policy, training, and technical assistance. The BJA Programs Office organizes and manages all state, local grant programs. They definitely work hand in hand, these two offices. So you will be hearing from staff from both of these entities about crucial information regarding your grant management and reporting requirements that all grantees must follow. You'll also hear about performance measurement tools, as well as you'll be hearing from the National Reentry Resource Center, which is the second entity you will hear from today. And at the National Reentry Resource Center, we are a project of CSU Justice Center, and we provide individualized training and technical assistance to all Second Chance at Grantees. You will be hearing from our director regarding the resources we offer. So let's go through the agenda for today's call and webinar. First, we'll get welcoming statements from representatives from Bureau of Justice Assistance, and then we will hear from the National Reentry Resource Center, and then we will conclude the third section with information on post-award grant management and federal compliance from state policy advisors at BJA. So first, I'd like to introduce to you our first speaker who we will be hearing from, and that is Dr. Gary Dennis, Senior Policy Advisor for Corrections at the Bureau of Justice Assistance. Dr. Dennis has been with the Department of Justice for many years, and prior to this, he has worked as a Senior Associate with Moss Group, as well as been a visiting assistant professor in the University of Louisville School of Justice Administration, and has had a 30-year career with the Kentucky State Government. I'm handing it over to you, to Dr. Dennis, to make some welcoming statements.
Thank you so much, Angela. You can probably tell from what Angela said that I'm a very old person, and I've been around the business for a long time. The last 6 years at BJA have probably been the most exciting 6 years of my career in corrections, primarily because I happened to come to work for BJA at the time the Act had been enacted. And I want to congratulate all of you for having the kinds of applications that won in our peer review assessment and have been awarded a grant. You're among a really select few. I think we now probably have close to 400 after 5 years of grant projects out across the country in all the different areas, ranging from mentoring demonstration projects to projects with co-occurring offenders. I had the privilege of writing the first two solicitations back in 2009 when we only received $25 million from Congress, and we're able to only fund two sections, the Section 101 demonstration and projects under the mentoring grants to nonprofits. Then in 2010, for year 2010, we got the $100 million, and we were able to expand into several other areas. So I just wanted to congratulate you, let you know that we're really happy that you're going to be a part of our family of Second Chance grantees. You have a wonderful resource with the National Reentry Resource Center, and as Angela said, you'll hear more about what's available through them in terms of technical assistance. And not only that, but our program office that supports you very directly in all of the aspects of your funding, they're probably the key part of the BJA team, because they really are there to provide answers to you about the technical questions on your funding. So I just want to say thank you for participating in the grant program, and let you know that we're just very proud that you're a part of our Second Chance family now. So Angela, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dennis. Next, we'd like to have Ms. Julian James, who will be talking. Julie is the Senior Policy Advisor for Justice Systems at the U.S. Department of Justice, BJA, where she manages the Justice Reinvestment Initiative and the Smart Supervision Program. Prior to joining BJA, Julie worked as a Senior Policy Associate for the Vera Institute of Justice, where she co-managed Vera's Justice Reinvestment Initiative work and led the JRI technical assistance in Delaware. She also contributed to Vera's Career Resource Center work. We're really excited to have her here, and now I'm handing it over to you, Julie.
Well, thank you, Angela, and thank you, Gary. Gary used to oversee the Smart Probation Project, which was the program at the time, and now, as many of you know, it's expanded to parole supervision, so we're thrilled to be able to expand the program in that way. And Gary talked about him being old, but y'all, if you've met him, you know that he has very few gray hairs on his head, so little to show in it in that aspect, but a great legacy as far as his contributions to the Second Chance Act program. So I'm grateful that I get to work on this program. It's a fairly new program. Since 2012 has been part of the Second Chance Suite, and we've awarded through this year 22 awards, totaling, let me get the total number here because I think it's a great number, over $12 million to support supervision, evidence-based probation and parole supervision practices to better meet and address offenders' needs and to reduce recidivism. You all are a select group. There were over 60 applications and 7 awards. So congratulations to you, and I know you've been through the drill as far as smart supervision specific requirements, but I'm glad that you're participating in this as well, because this will give you a broader sense of your reporting and financial requirements, and you've got a great assistance from the program office to help you do that. Thanks, Angela, and thanks to all of you who are participating today.
Thanks so much, Julie. Now we're going to hear from Maria Fryer, and Maria joins BJA from the North Carolina Governor's Crime Commission, where she advised the Governor's Office, as well as organized state decision makers at the Crime Commission to effectively address the needs of victims of violent crime through the use of policy, North Carolina statute, federal law, and federal block grant funding. She also served as a North Carolina general law enforcement instructor, an adjunct professor at a local community college, and she's worked in community corrections at Fayetteville, North Carolina, and has served in the United States Army as a member of the Military Police Corps. Thank you so much, Maria, for joining us, and I'm handing it over to you now.
Thank you, Angela. Hello. As Angela mentioned, my name is Maria Fryer, and my introduction will be short, as I am one of the newer policy advisors at BJA, and I'm just pleased to be here today. And I will be the point of contact for the Second Chance Act Reentry Program as well, but specifically for adults with co-occurring substance abuse and mental disorders. And just recently, I met many of you on the Justice and Mental Health Collaboration Call, and as you can see, we'll be working together throughout your time with both of these programs. And you may have worked with Danica Brinkley in the past, and she's still here helping me a lot. So just so you know, we are all here working together along with our technical assistance providers so that you can be successful in your programs. And as I stated on our last call, I come from many of the communities that you presently find yourself in and serve, and as well as a background in state government. And now through this component of the Second Chance Act, I look forward to working with you and assisting you in the success of your program. Thank you, Angela, and thank you to all of you for being here today.
Great. Thank you so much, Maria. Really appreciate it. Okay, so next, as you can tell from the agenda, we're going to learn about the National Reentry Resource Center and then conclude with post-award grant management and federal compliance. But first, before we jump into our introduction by Dr. Beth Skinner, I'd like to do a quick poll to learn a little bit more about who is on the call from our audience. So as you can tell, here is our question. It reads, check on your screen where your program is located. You have 4 choices. You can see them on the right hand of your screen, and the answers are northeast, southeast, middle, or west. So I'd just like you guys to take the next about 20 seconds to choose which program your grant is located. Great. Thank you so much, everyone. So it looks like we have a good amount of representation from Northeast, followed by Middle, and then West, and then at the end with Southeast. So next poll, real fast, is we just also want to find out which folks are here from the different grant tracks. There are these grant tracks that we ask you to report on. So please check on your screen the type of grant award that you received. A, adult offenders with co-occurring disorders. B, mentoring comprehensive. C, mentoring traditional. D, smart supervision. E, statewide recidivism reduction. F, technology careers. And G, 2-phase adult demonstration. So you'll have 10 seconds to choose your grant award. Great. Thank you again, everyone, for who participated in the poll. As you can tell, we have a good amount of representation from the COD grant track, followed with some equal representation for mentoring, SMART, statewide recidivism reduction, and technology careers and adult demo. So thank you again for participating on that. Okay. Next, I have here our next part of our program is to review the work of the National Reentry Resource Center. We're going to be hearing remarks soon from Dr. Beth Skinner, who's our program director. She directs the CSG Justice Center's reentry efforts within the National Initiatives Division here at CSG Justice Center. Previously, Dr. Skinner worked in community corrections for 10 years with the 6th Judicial District in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and she has her master's and PhD in social work. So Dr. Skinner, welcome.
Great. Thank you, Angela, and thanks, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you, Dr. Dennis and Julie and Maria, for joining us also and giving us a brief introduction. I'm glad to have everyone here. As many of you know, the Justice Center provides practical, nonpartisan advice and evidence-based, consensus-driven strategies to increase public safety and strengthen communities. We focus on work related to reentry, responses to justice-involved individuals with mental illness, and justice reinvestment. As part of our work, the Justice Center provides technical assistance to both Second Chance Act and Justice Mental Health Collaboration and Second Chance Act grantees. And we coordinate the National Reentry Resource Center in partnership with the Bureau of Justice Assistance at the U.S. Department of Justice. The Justice Center is part of the Council of State Governments, which is the nation's only organization serving all 3 branches of the state government, executive, legislative, and judicial. Since 1933, CSG has helped foster the exchange of insights and ideas to help state officials shape public policy. The Second Chance Act was signed into law in 2008 is the federal legislation to authorize federal support for reentry programs. Recognizing how complex reentry initiatives are and the importance of integrating research and evidence into those initiatives, the Second Chance Act authorized the creation of a National Reentry Resource Center for adult and juvenile reentry. In 2009, following a competitive process, CSG Justice Center was selected to launch the National Reentry Resource Center and provide training and technical assistance to all Second Chance Act grantees. We administer the NRRC in close partnership with BJA. To date, we've actually served about 600 grantees in 49 states since the National Reentry Resource Center has been in existence. On behalf of the staff and the board of the Justice Center, I congratulate you on the selection as a Second Chance Act grantee. As Dr. Dennis and Julie both mentioned, it's a very highly competitive program and sought after, and congratulations again on being selected for your award. We are wholeheartedly committed to providing support that will help you make the most of your grants, and we look forward to working with each of you as you implement your projects. So next, I'd like to talk about the four main objectives of the National Reentry Resource Center. First is, one of their objectives is to provide a one-stop interactive source of current, user-friendly reentry information. Second, we like to identify, document, and promote evidence-based practices. Third, we advance the reentry field through training, distance learning, and knowledge development. And last, we deliver an individualized, targeted technical assistance to Second Chance Act grantee. Every grantee has been assigned to NRRC staff, the National Reentry Resource Center staff, who will reach out to you soon if they have not already reached out to you to provide you individualized technical assistance. You may be asking, what does technical assistance mean? In the meantime, however, there is a wealth of information available on our site that may be helpful to you as you launch your upcoming projects. So the NRRC achieves its goal through three major objectives. It's to help grantees achieve their goals, to move the field in a data-driven direction, and to support BJA to ensure grantees achieve their program goals. First, we want to help grantees achieve their goals for the grant by recommending specific publications and online resources that apply to the specific grantee needs. We want to connect grantees with field experts, practitioners in the field. We want to connect grantees to other peers that have tackled similar challenges and issues to help them troubleshoot around those issues. We also want to move the field in the right direction. We want to educate grantees on evidence-based practices and principles, the R&R model, risk, need, responsivity, data collection strategies, and helping sustain programming. Provide support through monthly contact calls, site visits as needed, and distance learning opportunity as well. Third, support BJA to ensure grantees achieve the goals of the grant program. Let's support BJA Policy and Program Office to ensure grantees are aware of grant management, performance measurement, and other BJA requirements. Next, I'd just like to spend a few minutes walking you through some of the sections of the website you may find particularly helpful. Let me walk you through the NRRC website. The online resource center can be accessed through our www.csgjusticecenter.org/NRRC. And it includes publications, news updates, webinars, and other resources designed to promote effective reentry practices. The website also has an issue pages where we provide content on key reentry topics such as health, employment, and performance measurement. We have topic pages dedicated to many key areas of interest for policymakers and practitioners. Each topic page provides links to recent research and publications and news clips about the subject. Next, the National Reentry Resource Center regularly hosts webinars on a wide variety of topics related to reentry, and all webinars are recorded, archived, and available on our website. You can find them under our resources. Our goal is to at least have one webinar per month, and you can find out about these webinars not just through the website, but also through our newsletter, which we'll talk about in a second. Also under resources, you can find publications. The National Reentry Resource Center is building a large online library of publications related to reentry. To date, there are over 1,200 items in our library. Through the search box on our site, you can access our publications as well as any publication in our library. Next, the Justice Center, I just want to talk briefly about several projects we are working on in reentry and employment. This project is rooted in working with business leaders, policymakers, and practitioners across the country, working in corrections and the workforce to collaborate with the goals of improving reentry and employment outcomes for individuals with criminal history. Again, you'll find that on our website. Next, the NRRC also hosts the What Works in Reentry Clearinghouse. The Clearinghouse is a one-stop shop for research on the effectiveness of a wide variety of reentry programs and practices. It was developed for the NRRC by the CSG Justice Center and the Urban Institute with funding from BJA. It provides a user-friendly one-stop shop for practitioners and service providers seeking guidance on evidence-based reentry and center interventions, as well as useful resource for researchers and others interested in reentry. We are constantly adding new resources, webinars, funding opportunities, and other news to our website. We send out a monthly newsletter that will connect you to those new resources. We encourage each of you to sign up for our newsletter, which you can do on our website. Finally, we have a technical assistance timeline here I'd like to draw your attention to. Starting in December, January, your technical assistance provider will reach out to you and learn more about your project. All grantees will receive planning implementation guides and invitations to a P&I guide webinar. February and March, grantees should work with their TA provider to complete the P&I guide. In March 9th through 11th, 2015, we'll have potentially the SCA conference, which we're still waiting approval on. If you have any questions about the National Reentry Resource Center or the NRRC or the technical assistance available to you, please submit them with into the Q&A panel on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, and we will get to them at the end of today's webinar. Again, thank you very much for your time and participation, and again, congratulations on your award. Now I'll turn it over to Angela.
Thank you so much, Dr. Skinner. Now to go into the third part of our webinar today, we will be hearing from representatives from the State Policy Advisors team who will be talking about post-award grant management and federal compliance. So now I turn it over to Ms. Zafra Stork to walk through our next slides.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Zafra Stork, and I'm a member of the BJA Second Chance team. I'm a state policy advisor. We also have other team members on the line that will be talking. Anya Dobranska, Michael Boatner, Jennifer Lewis, Tracy Willis, and we'll be providing information on post-award grant management and compliance. Some of the topics we'll be covering will be award acceptance, special conditions, report submission, Federal Funding Accountability and Transparency Act, FFATA, financial information, unallowable costs, grant payments, grant adjustment notices, affectionately known as GANs, grant monitoring, grant closeout, and I'll also be providing some additional information and resources. All of you should have already accepted your award, but I'll talk you through that process. And you want to assign a financial point of contact in GMS, and you should check to make sure that all the contacts are updated, because this is how the policy advisor knows who to contact, and you don't want to miss out on information because we have the wrong contact person. You should sign and date your award letter and initial all special conditions. You can email the document to acceptance@usdoj.gov, or you can fax the information to us. You will in turn receive a packet containing the grant ID, PIN number, and information about accessing funds through the Grant Payment Request System, GPRS. Next. Okay, next. Okay, this is a copy of the award document, the front page where you will sign and you return to us. All of you should have seen that before. Next. Okay, I'll be talking about special conditions. And special conditions are terms and conditions of the award. All awards will include standard special conditions. Some special conditions are program specific, and certain special conditions may be specific to an individual award. And it may be based on the review of an application and if information was needed, and we will put a special condition on that award. Next. Okay, this is just showing you what the special condition page looks like of your award document, and it's really important to review this document to understand the conditions that are applicable to your grant and that your grant will be held to. Next. Okay. Some examples of special conditions that are standard to all awards would be compliance with the OJP financial guide, use of federal funds, audit requirements, the Anti-Lobbying Act, civil rights, including EEOP, Equal Opportunity Plan, and reporting potential fraud, waste, and abuse. As I mentioned earlier, there are also special conditions that are associated with individual grants, and sometimes they're withholding special conditions. These conditions place hold on funds for overdue reports or pending budget approval. Any other documentation that was missing or not sufficient when the grant application was reviewed. Next. I'm going to pass it over to Anya, who will be talking about reporting.
Thank you. My name is Anya, and I'm the State Policy Advisor for the Northeastern region. When you accept the award, you agree to comply with reporting requirements. Here, advanced planning is essential. Know what to report, how, where, and when. Keep all your contact information in PMT and GMS current. Know your deadlines, links to reporting systems and resources, and stay on top of all reporting requirements. Please make sure to submit all reports on time. When you are overdue with a GMS report, you create an audit trail of delinquent reporting. In addition, GMS will automatically freeze your funds. Once the overdue report is submitted, GMS will automatically release this hold. Next slide. Now I'm going to discuss with you financial status reports, also known as SF-425. Financial status reports must be submitted in GMS by your financial point of contact on a quarterly basis. Once you receive your award, you are responsible to submit your reports even if you do not draw down any funds. You should have a solid system of accounting in place and track all program-specific activities separate from others. This may be done through appropriate coding. All activity under the grant needs to be tracked and properly documented. Please refer to the OJP Financial Guide for information on proper management of funds. Know which costs are allowable and exercise caution. All expenses must be reasonable and necessary to the project. The expenditures should reflect your pattern of drawdowns and progress. For questions regarding financial reports, please contact OCFO Customer Service. Contact information and resources are included at the end of this presentation. Next slide. You will submit the data in the PMT module on a quarterly basis. When a report is due in GMS, you will download the PMT report and upload a PDF file in GMS. Please make sure to answer all the questions and that the PMT report uploaded in GMS is for the corresponding reporting period. Please have a solid data collection system in place. The numbers you report do matter, and if you need assistance understanding the questions, reporting the data, or need to make revisions, please contact the help desk. Next slide. Program reports must be submitted online through the OJP GMS. When you submit a report, it will be reviewed by your state policy advisor. You are responsible to check GMS periodically to make sure that the report was not sent back to you for corrections. Progress report is the primary vehicle through which your activities and outcomes are documented. It is a record of progress towards meeting your objectives, so please take all reporting seriously. Final reports must include sufficient narrative responses to indicate which goals you were met and if all the funds were expended. Next slide. If your agency receives more than $25,000 and you plan to subaward more than $25,000, then you will have to report those subawards in FSRS. You are required to file a subaward report by the end of the month following the month in which the prime contractor awards any subcontract greater than $25,000. Once a report is submitted, No other reports are required for that subaward unless there are modifications to that subaward during its life cycle. This concludes my presentation on reporting. For additional information, please email your questions to your state policy advisor. Thank you.
Hello?
Hello, hold on, please. There's a slight technical delay.
What?
Hi, everyone. We need just 1 minute to reconnect. We're having a slight technical difficulty. Thank you for your patience.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being patient while we're handling these technical difficulties. We're having some issues connecting with our friends over at the BJA, but I'm going to go ahead and as we're trying to reconnect with them, just kind of walk through these slides. First, we're going to go ahead and start with the, and again, this is Beth Skinner here. We're going to talk about unallowable costs. In addition to unallowable costs identified in the OJP financial guide, award funds may not be used for the following: prizes, rewards, entertainment, trinkets, or any type of monetary incentive, client stipends, gift cards, vehicles, costs that do not support approved project activities. Next, we're going to talk about the grant adjustment notices, which are called GANs. GAN is used to request project changes and corrections. Once OJP makes a decision regarding the proposed change, the grantee is notified by GMS via email. GANs are submitted and approved through GMS. GAN types include budget modifications, change of scope, project period, point of contact information, removal of specific conditions, sole source, cost required prior approval. Also, GANs will not be approved if the grantee is delinquent on financial or programmatic reporting. GAN under project period extension may not exceed 12 months past the original end date unless there are extraordinary circumstances. Must be requested through GMS no later than 45 days prior to the current end date. Please follow the format below and include the information: the current unobligated balance, explanation for why the project could not be finished before the current grant end date, Third, description of the pending activities to be completed during the requested extension period. And fourth, how the grant funds will be utilized during the requested extension period. GAN also changed the project scope. So prior approval is needed when changes include the following. First, altering programmatic activities. 2, affecting the purpose of the project. 3, changing the project site. 4, changing the target population. And 5, changing the subgrantee contract. Next, we have GAN budget modification. So next we will talk about budget revision. Prior approval is needed when proposing the following changes. A budget adjustment affects a cost category that was not included in the original budget. Changes to indirect costs. 10% rule is exceeded. The proposed cumulative change is greater than 10% of the total award amount. The 10% rule does not apply to an award less than $100,000. Note, processing again for the budget modification is like reviewing a new budget from scratch. You must attach a revised budget and budget narrative. For more information on the budget modifications, go to http://ojp.gov/funding/implement/resources/post-award instruction PDF. Next slide. So next we talk about the GAN sole source. As an award recipient or sub-recipient, you must conduct all procurement transactions in an open, free, and fair competition. However, a sole source procurement project may be used when you can document, 1, the item or service is available only from a single source, 2, a true public exigency or emergency exists, or after competitive solicitation, competition is considered inadequate. Sole source procurements, prior approval is needed for all sole source procurements in excess of $150,000. A document addressing each of these items can be found at this link below, and I will not repeat it for you. Next, approval of a grant award with a specific partner organization named in the proposal does not indicate approval of a sole source procurement. If a sole source is submitted by using the justification that the item or service is only available from a single source, you may demonstrate how you came to that determination. A budget clearance does not mean that the submitted sole source justification was approved. You must submit a GAN requesting approval. Next one we'll talk about in terms of the GAN is a publication plan submission. All grantees and cooperative agreement recipients, grantees, should begin submitting publications for review via GANs and GMS. The grantee should select PO approval, GAN, and mark publication plan submissions or other publication review and attach their publications into the GAN module. Publication, it applies to major publications such as evaluations or final reports. Announcements, press release do not apply. The grantee should explain their publication plan, i.e. dates of distribution, target audience, etc. And the GAN explanation block or in the attachment, this is in compliance with the BJA publication special condition to all awards.
So now I think we're going to be able to turn it over to our friends at BJA. So Ms. Jennifer, would you like to continue with these compliance monitoring slides?
Yes, I hope everybody can hear me.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, great. Hi, my name is Jennifer Lewis. I'm the State Policy Advisor for the West Region, and I'm going to continue with compliance monitoring. BJA conducts compliance monitoring through on-site visits, desk reviews, and enhanced programmatic desk reviews, or EPDR. BJA will monitor grant recipients to ensure they're doing what was proposed and approved, meeting programmatic, administrative, and fiscal requirements, identifying and resolving problems and or issues, and receiving the needed training and guidance. Next slide, please. Grant closeouts. There are two types of closeouts. First is a standard closeout submitted within 90 calendar days after the grant end date. All administrative, programmatic, and financial requirements have been met. and all expenses must be obligated by the last day of the project period. The second is the administrative closeout. On the 91st day after the grant end date, GMS will automatically freeze funds, initiate an administrative closeout, and notify the grantee. This is typically done when the grantee is unwilling, non-compliant, or unable to complete the closeout requirements. We suggest that you start the closeout process as soon as the program is completed and all monies have been spent. Next slide, please. Closeout notification. GMS will automatically notify the grantee 60 days prior to the grant end date, on the grant end date, and 30 days after the grant end date. Notifications will be sent to the point of contact, the financial point of contact, and the authorizing official listed in GMS. So please make sure the point of contacts in GMS are updated to receive all GMS notifications. Next slide, please. There are 5 components for closeout. The first is the final progress report. The second is the final financial status report, or SF425. The third is the special condition compliance. All special conditions must be met prior to closeout. The fourth is a financial reconciliation, and you need to make sure there are no discrepancies between what you reported as obligation on your final financial report and the amount of funding you have drawn down. The fifth is programmatic requirement certification. For assistance with these components, please contact your state policy advisor directly. And now I will hand it over to Zafra to talk about additional information.
Thank you. In this section, I'll be covering additional resources and sources of information to help you as you implement your grant. The BJA main phone number is listed. It's 202-616-6500. The BJA website. There's also a website where you can find state policy advisors listed. There are also documents that cover frequently asked questions about BJA funding. Next slide, please. For questions about financial information, as mentioned before, call the OCFO Customer Service Center, and we have the number listed, 1-800-458-0786. There's also an email address. For PMT, we have a website that you can access and a phone number, and you can call 1-888-252-6867. Next slide, please. Okay, and here are some additional links and other information. These are mostly training resources. The BJA Grant Writing and Management Academy has 5 online training modules for the life of the grant, including managing federal funds, strategic planning, and budgets, and that can be found at the link listed. There's a user guide for your grant payment request system. We've also included a link for grants.gov. There are different resources related to using the grants management system, also known as GMS. There's the OJP financial guide, which was listed and mentioned earlier. And another great online resource is the OJP Grants 101. And then we have a link for standard forms and instructions. And some of those standard forms are, let me make sure. Okay, the next slide, please. Okay, the indirect cost rate agreement, and there's the link. Disclosure of lobbying activities, and this is required for any applicant that expends any funds for lobbying activities This form must be downloaded, completed, and then uploaded. Accounting System and Financial Capability Questionnaire. This questionnaire is required for any applicant other than an individual that is a non-governmental entity and has not received an award from OJP within the past 3 years. This form must, again, be downloaded, completed, and uploaded. You will see the link. And standard assurances, this is required to be submitted in GMS prior to recipient of any award funds. And again, we've listed the link. This concludes the BJA section. We do have a listing of all the state policy advisors that are on the call and our email address and phone number. If you have any questions about what was covered, please email your state policy advisor or call them with any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so this concludes the presentation portion of our webinar, and we have a couple of questions from our audience, so I will be able to answer them. Most of them are actually going to be directed to your state policy advisor, so I'm just going to reiterate that. So I have received a question about whether or not, when will the PMT requirements be released, and to that question, I would suggest that you email or contact your state policy advisor / grant manager to get the answer to that question. Another question was, how does the sole source pertain to vendor consultants that described in the original application? How does sole source pertain to vendor consultants? Again, this is a good question that you could raise with your state policy advisor. Third question was about whether or not this presentation is going to be available online, and yes, in about a week's time we'll have the webinar video recorded online available at the NRRC website. We will also email it to you through the NRRC TA provider so that you will have it at your convenience. If you have any other questions at this point, feel free to add them. We will stay online for another couple minutes to be able to address any other questions. Or if not, we will conclude the webinar. Okay, well, I just want to say that we have no more questions from our audience today, but I do want to add this line as well as his email address from the National Reentry Resource Center, since we are here to continue to provide support to all the Second Chance Act grantees. This is also my personal email address in case you do have a question that you'd like to follow up with. For all Second Chance Act grantees, as Dr. Skinner mentioned, you probably have been contacted already by your TA provider, or you will be hearing from your TA provider shortly. If you have any questions at all about technical assistance from the National Reentry Resource Center, I'd be happy to answer them. As far as webinar grant-specific webinars that were specific to the grant tracks, there will be a webinar for the comprehensive mentoring grantees this Thursday, and we will have scheduled the webinars for technology careers as well as adult demonstration shortly in December. The webinars for co-occurring disorder grantees, smart supervision grantees, as well as statewide recidivism reduction grantees already have been held, and at this point there will be no webinar for the traditional mentoring grantees. But there will be other specific webinars going forward that are more topical in nature and not orientation in nature for all grantees. So we definitely encourage folks to continue to subscribe to the National Reentry Resource Center website to stay in touch with us regarding webinar announcements. And if you have any questions, feel free again to email us at info@nationalreentryresourcecenter.org, or you can email me at atalosa@csg.org. Okay, very good. Thank you so much for your time today. We are all looking forward to your success as Second Chance Act grantees, As Dr. Skinner noted as well, please save the date for March 9th to March 11th for the national conference. Information will be coming to you from your TA provider or from National Reentry Resource Center shortly with more information. And thank you again for your time, and congratulations for your award and your ongoing success. Have a good day.